welcome to Club Fuck It Bucket, where we get together and we talk about moments in our lives when the universe was against us and people were like, you can't do those things, and we just wanted to do a thing, so then we just did the thing and dealt with the fallout or celebrated the win. And one of the things that I just love about fucketeers who come on the show is that they all have one thing in common, and it's this idea of like grit and gumption and fortitude and persistence. And I don't always ask, but I think maybe we just have like a lot of Tauruses who come on. And today I have one of my very favorite Tauruses. So Norley is going to join us. They are one of the most interesting people you have ever met or not met yet, but you'll want to once we finish. So Norley, come on out. My Kentucky, like we have so much in common, like Kentucky roots. I'm also a Taurus, so I don't think I told you that, but we're like stubborn. Where are you in the Taurus?
May 18th.
Okay, I'm the 14th. So you get, yeah, 14th. So you get Mother's Day sometimes?
I don't know. I always kind of ignore my birthday. It's always just kind of like, oh, I'm a year older. Bye.
Oh no, I'm like, celebrate me surviving. The world should celebrate that they get one more year with April freaking Palmer. So, well, okay. So all of that to say is that we have this trait in common that I think is like some people will call it stubbornness. I think that it's leadership, right? And one of like the things that I just love about you so much is that you embody this idea of leadership and not backing down in so many different scenarios. And one of them is growing up in Kentucky and being trans and having to kind of look at all of the people in that area and give them like a big old, hey, guess what? I'm me. And either you accept it or you fuck right off. But it's also been tough too.
Yes. Yes.
Who did you have in your life that supported you as you were growing up and figuring out kind of who is Neroli and who is Neroli going to become?
I think that's one of the key things is I didn't really have anyone. I had to, and that might just either fall in with becoming more Taurus-like, or it might just be like a premonition of Taurus. But I didn't have anyone. My mom was really sick growing up. She still is, and I took care of her for a long time, but my dad wasn't such a great person. So I ended up growing up and taking care of myself as well as learning on my own and doing a lot of fuck ups on my own and learning from that. So I ended up becoming a leader through being alone and needing that leadership and not having it.
Yeah. Which is, it's so hard to do, and yet like you have come out of it this like positive shining light of change and social justice warrior and all of these things. One of the other things that we have a lot in common is that we're bookish, like big book nerds. Do you
Yes.
think that your love of reading like helped to kind of foster who you became and the empathy that you have for others as you've grown up?
Definitely, especially considering undiagnosed ADHD, OCD, like actual diagnosis, not I'm OCD, I'm irritated. No, like real needs to be this way OCD. Reading helped me escape a lot of what was going on in my life, and it also taught me to put myself in other people's shoes, and that helped me become. Of course, I had to grow over my own bigotry and my own idiot beliefs from when I was growing up, but at the same time, like you said, reading is what helped me connect to other people, and that's what helps pave the way for me to be able to talk to a vast variety of people. So yes, and I was reading Stephen King in elementary school and Poppy Z. Bride in high school, which I had to hide from the teacher because they did not like that. Poppy Z. Bride is not one like the Exquisite Corpse book. They saw that on my desk and they're like, "Does your parent know you're reading that?" I'm like, "Yes." She does.
Yes. And if you read it, you would understand that it's fine. I remember when we were young, and they listened to they're music kids. My oldest has Asperger's, and they've always been music kids and book kids. Um, and my oldest was listening to Anti-Flag, and the guy I was dating at the time was like, "This is like so unpatriotic and whatever." And I was like, "No, no, no. Listen, do some research, like understand." And I always felt like that about books too, right?
Mhm.
So did
Especially
you have Oh, go ahead.
books. No, you're good, especially titles. When they see the title, they just have the assumptions.
Right. That whole like judge a book by its cover is a saying for a reason.
Literally.
Did you have a childhood best friend who was a book character?
Like a real childhood best friend that could have been a book character or one that I
No, I didn't have friends. I was a big nerd. So like all my
yeah.
friends were the book characters and like I pretended that we were friends.
So I read a lot of manga as a kid, so Sailor Moon.
Awesome. I
Sailor Moon and, like, Jupiter was my favorite, just, like, and I didn't know at the time that it's because of my trans identity, which is why I lean towards the more masculine characters, so that just a lot of it is actually explainable in the books I read, and the best friends I had was led to the trans thing, so
yeah,
I
I
didn't
love
realize
that.
until you asked, so
You don't know.
light bulb.
My youngest is trans, and it's funny, like, after she shared with us that she is trans, then I started, like, looking at some of those things, and I was like, "Well, like, I've always known that she was gay, right? But, like, I probably could have figured this out sooner."
This makes a lot more sense. And
Yeah.
we were called tomboys a lot when we were kids, but
Mhm.
tomboys literally meant we did not identify as feminine.
Right. Yeah. I just was like I got the tomboy, but mine was, like, just a badass, like punch you in the nose if you didn't do what I wanted to do. I got bossy a lot as well. Some of the people who are listening might be surprised by that. But oh, Bunny's here. Oh my gosh, if you don't know my friend Bunny, she is absolutely amazing. She was named after Sailor
So,
Moon. So
mhm.
I love that. Bunny, I'm so glad you're here. Bunny, by the way, is having a retreat in Hawaii at the beginning of December that is going to be absolutely spectacular. So, for anybody who's listening who needs to get a week away with like one of the most heart centered, good humans you've ever met, check out Bunny. Um, so, Neroli, you like in my mind, what I know of you, and granted, like what I know of you is mostly in DMs, right? Like this is it's weird, like the shit that we tell each other in DMs. I'm always surprised by it. But to me, when I think of you, I think like natural boundary pusher, natural kind of risk taker, fucketeer. But one of the things that you told me is that when you're making a big decision, it's a process for you. Like, it's definitely there's a thing that happens, and I don't always associate that with kind of bucketeers and, like, fuck it bucket people. Will you tell us about that and, like, how that works for you and how that's impacted your life?
Well, that's the odd thing is I had this like break moment in 2019 during COVID and divorce and affairs and all that kind of stuff where I had a moment of either I can go through my arduous process of all of these different pros and cons, or I can say, fuck it, and I can go do the thing that I want to do and just do it and see what happens. And I did, and it sucked, and then it went great. So, so it kind of went like, yes, I did it. Oh no, and then yes, like.
What the
So,
fuck did I do?
I mean, I sold my house, I left the state, I left my family, like friends, I left everything. So I couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
So Illinois is so much better, but I found out that bigotry is everywhere and public education is not the place to be if you happen to be trans or anti racism. Like if you're BLM, public education is not the place to be. So I decided to drop education completely. That was my second bucket or fuck it bucket thing. So I was a process arduous type of deal. And then that happened and it just kind of broke the person in me that was like, I need to do all these things. And I'm like, oh no, flip the table.
It was like one little rock crumble, like, rolled down the hill, and then all of a sudden there was an avalanche in your life, and
Yes.
you were just, like, changing the landscape. completely.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It was like almost like an eruption, like a volcano went off, and I'm like, ooh, this is on fire. I'm gonna go over there.
I'm gonna go to a beach in Hawaii. Oh, Heather's another fucketeer. She's absolutely amazing. Just got married to her long-term partner in under Stonehenge. Like, so cool. To like two absolutely gorgeous women, like with this amazing background setting, and so fantastic. So that was fun to celebrate from afar. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting an echo. So like 2019 happens, 2020 is a shit show for everybody, but especially for you. You moved to Chicago. You chose to leave education, and that's a whole different story. That is absolutely terrifying and horrific. But hey, Thomas, that's my erstwhile cousin. He's not actually my cousin, but also from Kentucky. And you moved to Chicago. What do you do now?
I am a project manager, which uses all of my education skills, which is amazing. But I'm a project manager for the Valuable 500. And what we do is we have 500 companies where we collaborate with them to make sure that their processes are inclusive to people with disabilities. So I have a disability, and I just started this year being able to accept that I have one and that I'm proudly saying I have a disability. A lot of people might be saying on LinkedIn. I do things with my disability, not in spite of my disability type of deal. So we are currently in the process of helping like a global landscape of self-ID process. We're in the makings of that. So we're pairing with like Google, Deloitte, Apple, things like just all of these companies that we're trying to help create a space where disabled people can proudly say, I need this accommodation and I'm not scared to ask for it. Like there's not a space where we're going to be like, oh no, I need a quiet space, but if I ask for that, I'm going to get, you know, targeted. That's not it. We want to create that space where people can, and that includes neurodivergent people. Sometimes they draw the line. Neurodivergent people are part of the disabled community as well. My ADHD greatly impacts my ability to do my work. So that's what we're doing in a nutshell.
I love that so much. Like that's so near and dear to my heart as a mom of an Aspie, of somebody who has ADHD and takes medication and goes to therapy for it, and like and I feel so comfortable now saying to my boss, like, hey, my ADHD brain doesn't work like this. But that hasn't always been the case. And there have been a lot of times where I've suffered through trying to get things done for work, and like it's been so hard, right? And it's impacted my ability to actually show up in a way that allows me to bring my own hot mess brand of brilliance to what I do. You're just a helper. Like, this is your heart. I feel like you have a helper heart, because you've not only now dedicated your career to helping people in the workplace, but you're also a kitty mom, and you take on special needs kitties, right?
Yes,
Is
he's
there
right
one
here.
kitty?
Yeah, let me introduce him. He is deaf, and we didn't know that at the time, but I wouldn't give him back because I don't know what they would do with him. His name is Lexi. He is deaf, so I have learned to use stomps. I have learned to use sign language with him. And he doesn't know how to meow yet, but he's learning. He meows if my dog is a little too rough with him, but he chases things like a dog. He plays like a dog, and he does go on walks. Like he's going on walks.
Yeah.
He likes his leash.
That's amazing. I love that. We'll have to compare. So I have a little blind dog, and so you've got the deaf cat, and I've got a blind dog, and all of our animals have something wrong with them. So it's a thing. That's what I do, is I take in strays. So
Exactly.
And what is his name?
Lexi.
Lexi, hi, precious. Okay, y'all know, like, the animals are my weakness. So this is amazing. So, well, Lexi and Rolly, we are at 1:30, if you can believe it. Our 15 minutes went so fast. Thank you so much for coming to join us. I love you, and I love your your helper heart and how much fun you are and everything that you're doing. And I'm so glad that you decided to join Club Fuck It Bucket and be a Fucketeer with us. It makes me happy.
Well,
So
thanks
everyone,
for letting me come in.
yay! So everyone, if you're not already connected, please send a connection request. Neroli is absolutely amazing. They will engage with you in DMs if you're polite and if you don't send pictures of your genitals. That's an important one that you have to not do. If you want to be a guest on Club Fuck It Bucket, slide into my DMs, but just know we have one show next Tuesday, and then for the next 3 weeks, I will be jaunting around Europe and be going live kind of randomly to tell you about my exploits. So we won't have any guests on until I get back. And yes, Bunny picked up her husband as a stray, but she also picked up me as a stray, and I'm so lucky for that because I need a grown-ass adult to keep me in line. I'm the lazy adult. All right. Well, that's it. We're out of here. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you next week.